Perry. Perry versus Vincent Luke, which is a rematch. And Neal versus Anthony Pettis. Soriano defeated Pecchia. Pecchia versus Philip Rowe. And so on and so forth, guys. So here is that. The one of the big fights, guys, was the Nunes Ronamine fight that went the full 25 minutes. Nunes, guys, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this right now. She's the baddest bitch on the planet. She has 2 titles. She holds 2 titles in 2 separate weight classes in the UFC. She has knocked out Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey, just to name a few. And Chris Cyborg as well. I mean, so she has knocked out, the cream of the crop when it comes to fighters in the UFC. So by far, I think she is the baddest bitch on the planet. Just to go on with that, she is the baddest bitch on the planet, I think, in the UFC. I like to see if anyone else can come up with somebody that might be better than her or anybody out there that can beat her, because as of right now, it doesn't look very good for the women in her weight class moving forward. It was interesting to say the least. And so that is that. Moving forward from UFC 245. All right, guys, since I am watching hockey, let's get into some hockey news. Again, guys, real quick, it is 3-1 in the second period. The Lightning lead the Dallas Stars 3-1. Currently, the Lightning have 30 shots on goal. The Dallas Stars have 12. The Stars scored on a power play. All 3 of the 4 goals scored, guys, have been scored on the power play. There's only been 1 full-strength goal, and that was just the latest one by the Lightning. Here's some kind of sad news, guys, to start off with. This was for one of the Philadelphia Flyer players. They did something special for him at the Wells Fargo Center. This was written by Thomas Williams of Yahoo Sports Canada. Before the game on Tuesday against the Anaheim Ducks, every Flyers fan had an "I fight for Oscar" signs on every seat throughout the arena. The Hockey Fights Cancer Signs have been a mainstay throughout the NHL campaign to fight the disease, but it makes a perfect sense for every fan in attendance to support Flyers forward Oscar Lindblom at this time. He's going through that. 23-year-old is not expected to return this season and has to undergo treatment starting next week. It doesn't mean he isn't able to be around the arena. During the morning skate and prior to the game against the Ducks, Lindblom visited his teammates and team staff. Quote, "I know for me, I know for the team, it was the best thing that could happen for us." Head coach Elie Vion said about Lindblom's visit per Adam Keeland of NHL.com. "In the last week since Denver, since we found out the day we arrived there, this was the best day. Initially, how we feel to see him and see him smiling." Lindblom was diagnosed while he was on the road in Colorado last week and had to immediately leave the team to start his road to recovery. "I think today was great because he left Denver and probably didn't get a chance to say goodbye to everyone before he left." General manager Chuck Fletcher said, "Everyone's concerned. This transcends hockey. He's here. He's getting great care. I suspect our energy level will be good here." Lindblom has 11 goals and 18 points through 30 games played this season, and which is 3rd currently in the National Hockey League. So, again, just like prayers for David Stern, also throw prayers out there for Oscar Lindblom, who's going through a disease that has taken 3 family members from me, and it's a bad word in my household. And again, like I said just a few minutes ago before I got into my golf story, that this will mark the 4th year I lost my uncle to brain cancer on Christmas Day. That day is very hard. And another day that's hard for me when it comes to my uncle is on my birthday. That was the last time that I got to speak to him. He called me. he called me on my birthday to wish me a happy birthday, and I never got a chance to speak to him after that. So that day, every year comes around, and I remember that conversation. I remember him telling me that he loved me, and I remember telling him back that I loved him. And again, I would not be where I'm at today with, in life with golf, and without that happening when I was 5. And I'm going to go ahead and keep the legacy alive by teaching my nephews and my niece possibly the game as they get older. So that'll be the way that I'll, continue to let him know that, the thing that he passed on to me, and stuff like that. So that is that, guys. So let's get into some. This is the NHL Power Rankings after the Taylor Hall trade to the Phoenix Coyotes. So again, guys, this is kind of up to date. We're going to start with 31 and go backwards. So you have the Detroit Red Wings at 31, the Devils at 30, the Los Angeles Kings at 29, the Columbus Blue Jackets at 28, the Ottawa Senators at 27, the Anaheim Ducks at 26, the Chicago Blackhawks at 25, the New York Rangers at 24, the Montreal Canadiens at 23, the San Jose Sharks at 22, the Minnesota Wild at 21, the Buffalo Sabres at 20, the Vancouver Canucks at 19, the Nashville Predators at 18, Florida Panthers at 17, the Philadelphia Flyers at 16, the Toronto Maple Leafs at 15, the Tampa Bay Lightning at 14, the Calgary Flames at 13, the Vegas Golden Knights at 12, the Dallas Stars at 11, the Edmonton Oilers at 10, the Winnipeg Jets at 9, Arizona Coyotes at 8, the Pittsburgh Penguins at 7, Carolina Hurricanes at 6, the New York Rangers at 5, the Colorado Avalanche at 4, the defending Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues at 3, the Boston Bruins at 2, and the number 1 team in the Power Conference is the Washington Capitals and Alexander Ovechkin and company. So that is interesting, guys. It's very, very interesting, to say the least. Again, those will change as the season goes on. We are now about ready to. We have teams have a couple more games before the break coming up on Christmas. But again, there's been a lot of changes in the power rankings and stuff like that. And there will be moving forward as we get closer to the new year and we turn the calendar to January. I think, if anyone's out there and their team is kind of down right now, let's hope that you have a St. Louis Blues type situation where they were in last place last year, in January and came all the way back to win the Stanley Cup. So it doesn't happen very often, but it can. So don't get down on your team if it does. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Moving forward in the NHL, but that's my NHL news. As I said, guys, I'm going to try to get my callers in. My man Adam is unable to join me this evening because he is traveling for the holiday. So I wish him safe travels. If he's still out there listening, safe travels, my man. I'm hoping Lewis will join me later. If not, guys, then I will have, a short show this evening. So that's how that will go. And, like I said, I got some stuff I got to get off my chest at the end of my show here. The next one, guys, is I'm going to talk about MLB. As, again, we are on the verge of being about a month and a half away from everyone reporting to spring training. That starts up in February. So we are not far away from spring training, people having to report, pitchers and catchers reporting, position players reporting, people, certain players and stuff like that. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Here's an article about Hannah Kaiser of Yahoo Sports. She writes, "What does MLB do next about this inconsistent baseball?" And she says, a scientist explains, several things can be true at once, and self-serving explanations can be valid for at least compelling. For example, Commissioner Rob Manfred says at the winter meetings that their variability of the ball is part of the charm of the game, which he is uninterested in fully eradicating. Excuse me. This is a rhetorical departure from the earlier public position emphasizing that the balls all meet specifications, and the specifications will be tightened, and that effectively everything's under control, but also maybe the variability is part of the charm of the game. So that is that. Okay. So they're talking, guys, about the baseball, how the ball has changed again. Last year, if you don't know, there was over 1,600 home runs hit last year in baseball. So that is, amazing that they're trying to rectify it. They don't know how. It was an advantage. Like 65% of home run rate can be attributed to the ball, decreased drag. For one more thing, what happened in the postseason, but what now? So again, moving forward, guys, they're going to have to keep track of what's going on with the baseball and the different variables that go into it. But again, guys, it comes down to the fact that there was a lot of home runs last year. The Dallas Stars just scored a goal, guys, so it's 3-2. So it will come down, guys. Like I said, last year there was a lot of home runs hit. We'll have to continue to see what happens with that. Maybe they need to leave it alone because baseball seems to be getting, away and stuff like that. So now the other big story in baseball, which now, if you did not listen last week, may not be over until possibly until the end of next season, was the Houston Astros cheating scandal. Now, this is a report from Mike Chari of Sporting News. He says the Astros admit sign stealing to MLB, but deny installing special cameras. Members of the Houston Astros organization reportedly admitted to stealing signs during recent interviews with Major League Baseball. According to SNY's Andy Martino, some of the interviewees that they had access to a live feed from center field camera that aided in decoding signs in 2017. But they denied any special cameras were installed for the sole purpose of sign stealing. The Astros reportedly believe that they were in the line of industry standards because they thought other teams used technology to steal signs as well, but the practice is illegal nonetheless. In November, current Oakland Athletics and former Astros pitcher Mike Fairs told the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal and Evan Duroch that the Astros used a center field camera to decode signs during the 2017 season. Sources say the camera was league approved for scouting purposes, so while its presence was not illegal, using it to steal signs was. One of the reported told Major League Baseball during an interview that they were requested a live feed from center field camera to decode signs, as many teams do. In 2017, the Astros won the American League West with a 101-61 record, and went on to beat the Los Angeles Dodgers in 7 games to win its first World Series championship in franchise history. Since then, Houston has posted 2 more 100-win seasons, and it reached the 2019 World Series but fell to the Washington Nationals in 7 games. During the 2019 American League Championship Series, Martino reported the New York Yankees raised concern over the Astros using whistling from their dugout to relay stolen signs. According to Marino, opponents long suspected that the Astros cheated in 2017. The MLB is still trying to determine exactly how and what degree they did so. Punishment could be forthcoming, and the discipline reportedly could be harsh for manager A.J. Hinch and general manager Jeff Luhnow. So that is that, guys. So again, they reportedly are now saying that they did not use the cameras were set up for scouting purposes, that they did not use that to relay signals. If you again watch John Boy Productions on YouTube, this is the guy that broke the story with the video. Go on there and watch the video, guys. I mean, it's clear as day. You can hear them bang against the trash can. And you can also, I believe, in part of the video, he shows the